So we continue with our topic of compounds, mixtures, and chemical change. And now we are going to talk about um, chemical reaction, what it is, and after we discuss about what is a chemical reaction, we will go on to look at the characteristics of a chemical reaction as well as the physical reaction. We compare and contrast them so that we have a better understanding what they are. So here I have an example of a chemical reaction where iron and sulfur react chemically to form iron 2 sulfide. So, in a chemical reaction, what is joined by the plus sign, we call them the reactants. So, these two are joined by the plus sign and we call them the reactants. Joined by the plus sign. Okay, and then in mathematics, in a mathematical equation, we should be having an equal sign here. But in science, we have got an arrow. This arrow tells us that these two reactants form that iron 2 sulfide. So instead of an equal sign, we have got an arrow. What the arrow means is that this is a totally new substance from the reactants. That is what it means. So let us go ahead and look at some of the features of a chemical reaction. So the first thing about a chemical reaction is that, number one, a chemical reaction will give or take or give off energy during the reaction. So it will give or take energy during reaction. The second thing about a chemical reaction is that it is difficult to change. It is difficult to reverse. This does not mean though that it's impossible to reverse a chemical reaction. It is just difficult to reverse, but there is a possibility of reversing the reaction. And then number three, one or more new substances will be formed. So when a chemical reaction happens, we will have one or more new substances formed. What we mean by the formation of new substances, we actually mean that when these two reactants react, the result here of what is formed could be one or more substances formed, right? On the other hand, we can also look at the physical changes, the features of the physical changes. So, in a physical change, we do not have a new substance that is formed. No new substance is formed in a physical change. What this means is when you mix, when a physical change happens, there is no new substance that is formed. Let us say you mix iron filings with a powder. As long as you have not applied heat and so on, that still remains a physical change, right? So that is the first thing. The second thing about physical changes is that they can be physically reversed. Physical changes can be physically reversed. And processes that are involved in reversing these physically, processes like sieving, filtration, and so on. And then the third one is that these may not need energy, and they may not give off energy when the physical change happens. So these are the features of chemical reactions as well as physical changes.